just adding sand to the side streets would make a huge difference. Um, but I do think the other side of the coin is let's talk about a policy for how we're going to extend out school without just doing it in summer. That
Right.
seems to be the biggest gripe. Everybody's afraid that they have stuff scheduled for in June and they're not going to be able to do it. I've
Well,
heard that more than once.
right. Well, don't have a spring break then, or maybe not a fall break or, whatever.
Well, and there have been there's been many schools, especially in rural Kentucky, where they had to start going to school on Saturday. I'm not
Yeah.
talking this year. I'm talking about prior years, and
Wow.
and they could it'd be very easy to sit there and start taking one Saturday a month away from kids.
Mm-hmm.
And people wouldn't like it, but that's better than some of the alternatives.
Correct.
There was one year when I was in middle school where we went, I think our last day of school ended up being June 15th
Mm.
because of
I
all the snow days.
There were two different years, I believe, we had school in Paris where we went into June. I don't know if we went to June 15th, but we went into June. I remember that. But they typically they wanted you out of school by the end of May because the schools weren't air conditioned back then, and so they were
Mm.
starting to get hot and everything.
I didn't realize you were French. I'm
Well, I'm worldly. What can I say?
all
Yeah.
right. We're starting. I'm going
Aw.
to mute everybody. I'll see you guys later. Good to
Thank
talk
you
to you.
all.
Your servant leader or speak to the next few leaders. We'll now have our pledge to await test, the inspiration by Rotarian David Jones. It's the month of February, Black History Month, a time to acknowledge what some of our fellow Americans have endured because of the color of their skin, celebrate their achievements and contributions to our country. One such American was born on this very day, February 5th, 1934, in Mobile, Alabama. Not a good time or a good place to be born, but like he was. Racial discrimination was the law of the land when he was growing up, but he succeeded anyway. I'm talking about Henry Louis Aaron, Hank Aaron, Amarin Hank, one of the greatest baseball players of all time. He was the man who broke the record that many thought could never be broken. The 714 home runs hit by the great Babe Ruth. Talking and thinking about Hank Aaron on his birthday today is a good way to start Black History Month. His life, the dignified way he lived it, and his achievements can inspire all of us, whether we are baseball fans or not. He was inspired himself by another great baseball player, Jackie Robinson, the first African American to play in Major League Baseball with the Brooklyn Dodgers in 1947. Aaron, when he was 14 years old, got to see Robinson play in an exhibition game in Mobile in 1948. He later said watching Robinson play solidified his resolve to become a professional baseball player. With that resolve and a lot of talent, that's what he did from 1954 to 1976, mostly with the Milwaukee and Atlanta Braves. How many here were watching the game that night when Aaron hit home run number 715? Raise your hands. I was watching too. It was April the 8th, 1974 in Atlanta against the Dodgers. Millions of people watching, not just to see a record book, but to see a great achievement and to share a special moment in American history. As Vin Scully, the longtime Dodger broadcaster, put it that night, a black man is getting a standing ovation in the Deep South. Thank you. Now the pledge for me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for the king, for God, and the people It's written about like law. Don't listen, no, the businesses, the change is living to pay contributions to our society. Introduction of guests, Trey McCallum. Once you like this, okay, that I'll turn to your much. We have four guests with us today. John Phillips is a guest of Peggy's. David Brian Blondell is a guest of David Blondell. Drew Sneeringer is a guest of Lucas McAvoy. And Terry Rock is a guest of Jeff Burrows. Welcome to our guests. You already got one more over here. Oh, one more? Please. My apologies. Well, to all of our guests, welcome and thank you for being with us, and we appreciate your attendance. Hope that you will return and join us. So need be. Hopefully, you will find something that attracts you to our club. So we always need every opportunity to recognize as well as improve. Celebrating birthdays this week. Kerry Blaze. He will be 97 tomorrow. And Bruce Bell, our birthday acknowledgements. Let's give them a round of applause. In fact, when I was one time introducing Dr. Clark, he was celebrating his 100th birthday. And I asked him, I said, Dr. Clark, how do you feel when you get up in the morning? He said, surprise. So, do you have any advice you would give? Well, I mean, any thoughts that you might have about to 100? He said, yeah, there's no peer pressure. With that. One other quick update here, as it relates to Peggy. Many of you may know, if you don't, I'm here to tell you that he had surgery this morning on her shoulder, but she is recuperating. She's on the injured reserve list, but she will be back with us and she's doing well. That I know so that we can continue to uplift Peggy in our thoughts and prayers. I want you to know, can't call Peggy, give her a day to rest. We'll call a Jenny or someone or me, but give Peggy a rest for a while and raise forward. Now, we have a special announcement here. We have a lunch sponsor this month. It's Blue Million. And of course, we want to thank Blue Million for their generous support of our club. They also created our website for us last year. If you haven't been there, you need to check that out. So our membership, our partnership, that is, continues to evolve. So we're grateful for their time and talents. And we'd like to again encourage you to go to the website for this where you can find information about club news and activities. With that, like Mr. Tim Campbell and Rotarian Patrick Metzger to come to the forefront. As a result of their sponsorship, they get a 30-second commercial here. Clock is running. We're very happy to be today's sponsor, and our company, 2 Million, does marketing, digital, web, social for groups and organizations, large and small, like the Rotary, but lots of others, single proprietors to Fortune 500 companies. And lately, we're helping a lot of people harness artificial intelligence so that it helps them and doesn't destroy them. So if any of that sounds of interest to you, I invite you to visit with my colleague, fellow Rotarian, Patrick Metzger, and he would love to talk to you about issues like that. So that's the commercial today. However, we're very happy to hear the story of something artificial intelligence I don't think will ever replace or improve upon, and that's a delicious Kentucky beer. So we look forward to this. We're going to have a lottery now, and I've asked our guests, here, our sponsors, to be able to pull the tickets here. Two.
Okay, we get,
Thanks, we don't.
we got 573. And, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Ace of diamond,
We'll see if we get it first.
okay.
73.
Ace of diamond.
You, Chris, you're up there awful lot.
I know it.
Yeah, I know. But I always want.
Sure. Thanks for playing.
Okay, thank you.
Plastic. 570. Oh, not yeah. Let's see what we got. Oh,
I didn't close.
no, got $2. We got $2 back. There you go. Thanks for playing.
Thank you all. And thanks to, Million for helping and the gift that we have. Appreciate it. Once again, we ask people to help support our organization, and we give you a few seconds to give you a elevator speech about who you are and what you are. Next, Susan Adams has a special announcement.
Good afternoon. I'm excited to invite everyone to join us for our February and our March socials. The February socials you'll see on your table is going to be our third annual trivia night. And for those of you that think that you could not be good at trivia, I've never done it before, Rotary Fun, and we do it in teams, and it's a lot of fun. It's going to be our third week of the month, so that we are doing Rotary differently week. It will be at Columbia Steakhouse again on Richmond Road, starting at 5:30. So from 5:30 to 6:30, we'll have social and dinner. And at 6:30, the professional trivia company will start our trivia night. If you don't have a team, we'll put you on a team, but bring your significant others, bring potential members. It's only $5. Scan that QR code and you can sign up for that. And then in March, on March 14th, on Saturday, on St. Patrick's Day, is the St. Patrick's Day Parade. And Alicia has signed us up as part of our community outreach, as well as our social for that day. So we want everybody to put on your green, come out, join us. We'll have our Rotary banner. We'll be walking down Main Street. We'll meet around 12:30, 12:45 at Midland, right there at Main. And then we'll all walk together to promote Rotary. So hope to see you at both those events. Thank you.
Your first material question was, where was beer then? That's all right. Don't tell me. I don't know, but I'm gonna find out, I think, a little bit later on. This week's fifth page highlights 3 new members, so we encourage you to read the pages. Point yourself a new member. Send an email, text message, read or that will have you're gonna sell already.
Daniel D.H. Harrison. So D.H. was born and raised in Scott County, Kentucky. Having attended Georgetown College, D.H. fell in love with craft beer in Japan while teaching English on an exchange program. Upon returning to the U.S., he partnered with 3 other native Kentuckians to begin the first taproom model brewery in Lexington in 2012. Country Boy Brewing. DH has been a champion for craft beer in Kentucky. Serving on the board of the Kentucky Guild of Brewers, he has helped develop a thriving industry with over 80 breweries in the state. DH currently resides in Scott County with his wife and 2 children. In addition to leading Country Boy Brewing with his partners, DH always makes time to hunt, fish, and have a pint with everyone. 3 Country Boy taverns. A little bit more about Country Boy Brewing. Country Boy Brewing was founded in 2012 by 3 native Kentuckians with a passion for great craft beer. Country Boy prides itself on making minimally processed beers with high quality, real ingredients. Their passion for great beer shines through their core brands, Cougar Bait American Blonde Ale and Shotgun Wedding Vanilla Brown Ale. Their 2017 expansion into Georgetown, Kentucky, includes the largest production brewery in the state and allowed them to can their most popular new brews, in addition to several seasonal offerings. This brand new building has a 45,500 square foot production brewery, tap room, and offices. In 2023, Country Boy Brewing opened a 3rd location in downtown Louisville to showcase their brews to a new corner of the state. For more information, you can visit their website, countryboybrewing.com. And here's DH.
Sam, for a fine introduction. I believe I have to start out with the apology. I was told upon arrival, with our director of marketing, Pete Weiss, and I, when we walked in, they said that the previous speakers were Governor Andy Beshear and UK President Eli Cavaluto and national championship winner volleyball coach Craig Skinner. To which I replied, well, why the heck did you bother me calling me back? TV at this point. No, I'm not kidding. I didn't get beer. Thank you so much. It's an honor to speak here to 500 Rotarians at the Rotary Club meeting. And I'm going to talk a little bit about our history, how we've grown, and then I'm going to leave with kind of 3 key moments, I think, that have kind of set the tone for what Country Boy is and will be. And I also need to follow up and say, if you don't like people that are scatterbrained and talk with your hands, the next few minutes are going to be very uncomfortable for you because unfortunately. I'm born and raised in Scott County, Kentucky. I went to Scott County Middle School, Scott County High School, graduated high school with Georgetown College. Stayed pretty close to home. I told people I was going to Georgetown. They said, "Man, you're going to love Washington, D.C." And I was sort of thinking, but I love my time at Georgetown. I graduated undergrad, decided it was time to really spread my wings and travel. So I went to grad school at UK, Patterson School. I left for Cali and had a fantastic time at Patterson School. And upon graduating at Patterson School, I've always been blessed with parents that let me travel. And I've been blessed to go a lot of places on different vacations and mission trips, things of this nature. And I got the opportunity to the sister city relationship in Georgetown, Kentucky, with Tahar, Japan, due to the Toyota facility that was built in Georgetown in the late 80s, early 90s. And as a result of that sister city relationship and partnership, I accepted the position to go teach English for the public school system there in Tahara, in Aichi, Georgetown sister city. And it was there that I developed a great passion and interest in craft beer. A lot of friends that were with us in Japan now stayed with us. I ended up being in Japan. That was full of the story with one of my business partners now, Nathan College. I also took that, accepted that invitation and went. And when we were in Japan, a lot of friends of ours would really pass the time with getting involved with Japanese culture, Japanese flower arranging, Japanese history. They would travel to see all the sites. And while all those things have merit and are warranted, Nate and I really got into Japanese craft beer because we've always been beer fans, and the scene was booming there. And it was in Japan that I developed a great affinity for craft beer, what it meant, the community around it. I was infected with passion. Infected is not a word we like to use in the beer industry. I use it in this sense because my mentor in beer, Brian Bair's passion was infectious to me with how he ran his company and how his beers tasted and how his taprooms felt. And so if you were to be teleported right now to one of Brian's taprooms in Japan, which still exists, you would say he ripped off the Asian Country Boys idea and feel and everything. In fact, it's quite the opposite. We emulated what his vision was there and brought here. So moved back to Georgetown in 2010 with the idea that we're going to start a brewery. Now, if you've ever had a buddy, if you've ever homebrewed yourself, and after the first batch of beer that's made in the backyard of the garage, usually at some point in time after the beer's ready and it's being drank, someone will utter, "We got to start a brewery." This would be great. Well, my partners at the time, or my partners now, and we uttered those same words after about our second or third batch of beer. We said, this would be fantastic. We should start a brewery. How do we do that? We met a guy that had a little business experience that we did. He's since retired. He helped us kind of get the idea off the ground. Well, we went to the city and we said, we'd like to start a brewery. We found a piece of property on 436 Chair Avenue off Broadway. If you haven't been over there, please come check it out. It's our original location. It is home. It is the first craft brewery tap room in Lexington since Prohibition. Alltech, of course, Lexington Brew Company was here and has storage brews. They just don't serve on site, so it's kind of a different model. And after we were calling the city and saying, we'd like to start a brewery, and then I once on Lexington, and they said, "Oh, you want to be a brew pub? You want to be a restaurant that makes some beer?" And I said, "Not exactly. We just want to make beer, and we want to sell the beer on site." And they said, "Well, what are you going to do for food?" And we said, "We're not going to have food. It's just going to be a tap room connected to a brewery." And they said, "Well, it's a stupid idea, but you can make it work." Lexington was always great from day one on helping us get the idea off the ground. And how it works was the industrial zone here in the city, you can designate 30% of the total square footage to the sale of a product that's manufactured on site. Well, I assume that means if you're a sock company, you can have a sock store on site where you can sell the socks that you make. So we made the case to the city. We said, well, we're a beer factory, and we'd like to designate 30% of the total space to be able to sell beer on site. And that's called a home. And that kind of was the first of the model that then, in 2012, February 10th, 2012, we opened our doors. You can do some quick math. We had this 14 years ago. I think this coming weekend or week, we celebrate our 14th anniversary of Chair. We were the first microbrewery tap room, and now to say that just short 14 years later, it's amazing to think with the proliferation of tap rooms and craft beer in the city. I think now we're up to 7 or 8. You can correct me on that later. But we have a fantastic craft beer scene here in Lexington, a fantastic bar scene, restaurant scene, and it just continues to grow. And that's mostly thanks to you guys to go out and support it. But in 2012, it was kind of a different scene. People in Lexington, I'm not going to disparage the good people here too much, but palates weren't really refined back then. And by saying that, the beer that we made when we first opened was pretty terrible. Thank you for still coming to support us. But quite honestly, there wasn't a lot of agriculture industry that was here. It existed for Prohibition. There was the brewery that was on Broadway, up from us, it was just slightly ahead of its time. But because of that naive palates that we had here, we were able to hone our crafts. Breweries like West Six opened a couple months after us, Blue Stallion about a year after that, Ethereal, Beer Twin, the list goes on and on, all the great breweries that came after it. We were 4 guys when we opened, and so our business plan was to sell 30 beers a day. If we could sell 30 beers a day, it's enough to keep the lights on, maybe put a little tip money in our pocket, and keeps us from having to get real jobs and our watch killing us. Not the most in-depth business plan, but it's one that worked. Found a great landlord, Mr. Jeff Queen, who rents the building on Chair, worked with us. And it was probably week 2 that we realized we got a tiger by the tail because we had no employees. It was just us 4. We were brewing all the beer, cleaning the place, bartending every shift, just us 4 people. I can remember Ben Self from West Six. I'm sure many of you know Ben. He came in one day about week 3 and he said, "Ish, you look exhausted." I said, "Well, you've got a keen eye, sir, because I am exhausted." And the reception we had with Lexington, the outpouring of support that we got from the community was fantastic. And so in the first couple of months, we realized, hey, this thing is way bigger than 30 beers a day. This thing's bigger than we ever thought it was going to be. We need to hire a bartender. So we hired a bartender. We all went on the other side of the bar and we sat down. And Miss Laura Leanne, the 2 we hired us to say, poured us a beer. And I thought this is the greatest day of my life. We should have done this months ago. And that then spiraled to we hired a production manager who's now and Mr. James Sinkhorn. We hired a tap manager, we hired a event staff, and the brewery continued to grow. And I'm going to talk about 3, I think, key moments in the brewery's history. And the first being this moment of had a successful business. We were having a lot of fun. Things were looking good. The books were looking great. The bar was staying busy. We were just selling beer. I was getting involved in the craft beer scene. And on the state level, I graduated from Patterson School with a lot of folks that went into government adjacent jobs. And I thought, that's not for me. I want to do Frankfurt. And I started a business and I found myself in Frankfurt all the time because we're having to go to communicate and educate, updates, and communicate alcohol laws that were on the books. But we thought, we had this moment where we said, what do we want to be? Do we want to continue to operate this facility? It was great. That we were having a good time. The business was great. It was healthy. Or do we want to try to take the next step and grow to something bigger? And of course, after a couple of beers, we all said, well, let's go. Let's try it. Like, take a risk. But we like to say we were either stupid or young or dumb or combination of all that. We were so naive. We weren't scared. We didn't know what to be scared of, to be scared of. If you told me all the things that are out there in the business world that are scary and liabilities and insurance and all those kind of things, I probably would have made a different decision back then. But being so young and dumb, we just said, let's do it. And so we did it. And so I guess the first thing that I'm going to attribute a lot of success to is my doctor likes to tell me this too. I'm a natural risk taker. And a lot of that is we always said when we started the business, we said we'd rather look back in 15 years and the thing crashed and burned. We said we gave it a try rather than say 15 years, what if? You never want to be what if folks. And so we said, let's take a risk and let's build. So we always like I said, this kind of guy. We looked at several other places. Georgetown was very advantageous for many reasons. For the business, also was closer to my house, which was a very big thing for me. We built a production facility in the Lane Joint Business Park. We broke ground in 2016. We opened it in February 17, 2017 in Georgetown, our second location. Now, if you can remember, I said we opened our original location in Georgetown in Lexington on February 10th, 2012. We opened in Georgetown on February 17th, 2017. We missed the 5-year anniversary to open our production facility by 1 week. And the reason we missed by 1 week is we didn't have bathrooms at the time. We felt that was great. Operational. So we opened Georgetown. Initially, it was about a 25,000 square foot facility, 50-barrel brew house, the largest brew house in the state. We don't make the most beer in the state. It's the largest brewing facility, and a huge tap. We said we don't want to do food. You know, we do beer really well. We know how to do beer. Put a little commissary kitchen in there for the future. But we just want to have a tap room space that celebrates what we think is the best craft beer. So things continue to grow. Lexington's doing great. Chair Avenue has always been our home. We say it's our flagship, even though Georgetown looks like our big spot. Our original location always has character. The new place at Georgetown's growing. We're finding more salespeople. The business is trending up. And then this thing happened called the pandemic in 2020. And it was a scary time for a lot of businesses, still is, especially for the restaurant business. We didn't know kind of how the future was gonna, what the future was gonna hold in the day to day. And so it was right at the beginning. We made the decision to shut down early just because we didn't know what was out there. We got all our folks together and we said, hey, we think we're gonna be okay. And this is the Country Boy family. We're going to keep it that way. And luckily, the governor deemed beer making essential, which we believe is very essential. Because we were deemed essential, we were allowed to stay operating and do curbside service. But I want to tell a quick story. We did a video that we did not intend on doing. I did a talk with all of our staff. We got everybody together at the table. And I said, I don't know how this came to me. I don't believe in a higher power. Nothing is a coincidence. But the night before, that come across my great-grandmother's ration book from World War II. It's a very appropriate story, as of course one of my favorite family members is present today. Bill and his grandmother, the story I'm talking about, and I have a ration book still. There's a lot of rations still in there, coffee, sugar, flour, and it kind of hit me that my granny Effie didn't use all the rations. She took what she needed and saved the rest because somebody else might need some more. So I brought that ration book in and I told staff, hey, we're gonna be okay. You can remember everybody's buying toilet paper and these things at the time. And I said, we're gonna be okay because I know there's rations left in this book. We take care of each other. We're just simple beer makers, but we're gonna do what we can. We're gonna keep people happy. And because the rations are still in this book, we're gonna be just fine. And so one of our employees, hey, that was a great speech. That was awesome. He said, we should record it, put a video out. And I said, okay. So we put this video out and it ended up being one of the most probably viral moments we've had. And it was just simple, easy, non-rehearsed thing when we said, hey, we're gonna be okay because we know in the past people were okay and we're gonna make it through together. And that's probably a pivotal moment number two for our company when I changed my role 100% from being a person that I tried to fancy myself as this big entrepreneur and this business leader to I'm just a cheerleader. That's all I am. I'm a morale officer for our people. I'm the carrier of the Country Boy banner. I'm the voice that Country Boy speaks with, and people call me a brewer all the time. It's the greatest beer makers. A secret, don't let me leave the room. I'm not brewing. Touch the beer. What I'll do is talk about it and get to drink it, which is the best part of the job. But it was that realization during the pandemic of where we kind of all changed our roles in the company to we keep our people healthy, both physically and mentally. We keep the company healthy, and we're going to move forward. And so things passed. Georgetown and Lexington both were fantastic to us. We had so many customers. I think they just came and bought beer and poured it out. Drank that much. We had such an outpouring support from the community that we came through every day. We also during that time really decided we're going to do something else that's kind of revolutionary in business. It's not revolutionary at the time. We're kind of really great people and empowering people. And so one of them is standing in the background. I was Pete Weiss, our director of marketing. We kind of put together the Avengers Dream Team as we're coming out of COVID with Nathan Canavera, our sales director, Pete, Daniel Seacorn, who's now one of our partners, our production manager, with Jason Hammond, who's now one of our partners and our general manager. And we said, hey, the hardest thing to do, and I'm a control freak, Pete will tell you, I kind of freaked out yesterday as we're renovating our Georgetown Tavern Room, is for your business to give away a little bit of that control to other people and let them run with it. But if you're ever going to grow, that's the only way to be able to do it. Because there's fortunately, depending how you look at it, there's one of DH out there. And he's getting not any younger. And so to bring people on and empower them and let them put their vision and their DNA on the company and let them take it to the next level is really the decision that was made at the end of the pandemic. It's helped springboard us to where we're going now. Let's go with probably the third biggest thing that happened to us, as we said, it's scary. It's an interesting market. We were speaking earlier. Alcohol sales in total are down. The younger generation doesn't drink as much anymore. College kids don't drink. Oh, what do they do? Experience is different than your off. But we said we can sit around and we can wring our hands and we can talk about how the market is down, how things are contracting. Or we can double down and we can say, well, others are folding. We're going to speak plain. We're going to go. And that's what we did. And so in 2023, as Sam mentioned, we opened up the tap room in the Omni Hotel downtown Louisville. To the Fall City Market. You've been to the Omni Hotel. It's kind of a offshoot off the main lobby. It's almost like an airport bar section. There's much of the restaurants in there. We worked great with it. If you told me 2012 I was signing a contract with the Omni Corporation, I would say crazy. But we did. They've been a fantastic part of that location. It's continued to grow. And then to keep things going crazier, I know when you look at me, you think DH is probably the most. He looks like one of the pickleball players look like. And it couldn't be farther from the truth. But we partnered with some great people. Sorry, I'm yelling the flag. And we opened up in July of 2025, PKL Lex off Winchester Road on Owen Street, which you haven't been there yet. It is a 50,000 square foot, 9-court indoor pickleball facility with 3 indoor golf TrackMan custom suites. We can play golf inside, private event space, pickleball, and surprise Country Boy Brewing, tap room, and restaurant. We just celebrated our 6 months of business there. And it was a huge leap of faith. We're in business with great people there, but normally when you think about pickleball and golf, Country Boy Brewing might not be the first company that you think of that would be in that facility. But for us, we saw that as one of the greatest opportunities for our brand and for the future of Country Boy in reaching a demographic and reaching a subset of people that had never heard of our brand before, had never tried our beers and ciders before, and would allow us to springboard to a whole new area of people that had never touched our brand before. If you look at the tap room in Georgetown and the clientele and the customers that go to that facility often, and it is nice. And you would line them up, you would line up everybody that's in the pickleball facility playing pickleball. I pretty much a 10 out of 10 can tell you who's at which facility because they look very, very different. In Georgetown, we're built in the shadow of Toyota. So, this might also come as a surprise, the 7,000 workers at Toilet Toys off, when they get off shift, they're quite thirsty from time to time. It's a great business decision to build right next to Toilet. And then that clientele is great, but moving to the wall facility near the Kennewick neighborhood has been fantastic for us. So I guess to sum everything up at the end, what what's it? I guess to answer the question, beer is supposedly invented in Mesopotamia. I told you I was all off the map, right? It just came back to me now. There's been a great Netflix special that you can find. It's called How Beer Changed the World. Us, as on the side of things, we attribute math, property, lines, law, modern medicine, all to the only reason those things were invented was because beer was discovered. I promise I can make a case for all that to you. But beer changed the world in that regard. So what to us about beer? Why beer? People ask that question. Craft beer, especially. To us, it's a very serious purpose. We try to say in our world, we try to take ourselves too seriously. We try to have a good time at work. You can't have fun at a job where you're making beer and peddling beer and selling beer in the market. If you can't have fun doing that, it's going to have fun at any job that you're trying to do. So we try to know our place in the world and take ourselves serious that, hey, it's a job supporting a lot of people. We have about 150 employees now. They have families, they have children they're supporting. And to us, that we wear that not as a burden, but as a mantle that we carry, of pride going forward, right? But we also know that there's people out there that are trying to cure cancer and take your heart out, put it in there, and fly rockets to the moon. And those are really, really serious jobs. And we just make beer at the end of the day. So we try to keep ourselves in perspective. But at the same time, one of the coolest things for me, people ask a lot, what's the most rewarding thing about being a country boy and starting a business? And number one is the people that we get to work with on a day-to-day basis. Sometimes I know it makes you look good if you say that, but really, especially if you knew me, Pete can attest. Like someone told me in business a long time ago, if you hire people smarter than you and better than you don't really have to work that hard anymore. And so that's what we did. And that's the greatest thing about the job is being able to come today and work with great men and women that we have. But also, they say, hey, Spear, I remain with my fiance was a pint at the chair every time. And now we've been married for 5, 10 years. So every time we go back there, we remember that. We take that very seriously. They'll say, when I turned 21, my dad took me down to the tap room and ordered me a shotgun wedding for a flip chip. The first beer I ever had legally with my parents was at your tap room. And we were like, oh, that's awesome. And we toasted at our wedding, my wife and I, with your beer. And we celebrated this moment. When I found out my wife and I were expecting, somebody told me, they said, I went and got all my friends together at the bar. I ordered everybody around halfway home pale ales. We all toasted to my son that was going to be born. And those are huge, heavy moments that we say that what an honor to be able to make a brand that's there. And then somebody came one day and he said, hey, the last beer I ever had with my dad is Country Boy Beer in Tap Room. And I'll never forget it. And so that really tied a bow on it for me. And we just make beer, but it is something that we celebrate. And it is a liquid that people cement lifetime memories around. And what an honor to be able to brand this. And with that, I'll leave you with one quick quote. I said it when we opened up our pickleball facility in Winchester. People always ask what the future is for Country Boy. And so my go-to used to be, we want to sell beer on the moon one day. I don't know if we'll get there in my lifetime or my kids' lifetime. One day we'll get there. It can be 13. I don't want to drink a beer. I want it to be a Country Boy. But we'll let you quote from Daniel Barnum, who's credited with his vision for being able to plan out the city of Chicago and urban development. And if you get to go and you go see all the architecture that's there, a lot of people will say it's his vision to cast back in the day when Chicago was being planned to make it that great city. And he said, make no small plans, for in them there is no magic to stir men's blood. And so at Country Boy, we say our motto now, we're going to make no small plans. We don't know if they're going to work or not, but we're going to aim for the moon. And hopefully one day you're out there drinking beer. It's ours. Thank you. Dangerous. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer if we've got any time.
Big statement, that was amazing.
Oh, thank you.
My nephew, his stage name is Cougar Bait Harper. Here in Lexington, he sings with New Year's Eve.
Yeah,
And
sure.
now New Year's Eve at Pearl.
Yeah.
So I've been drinking Cougar Bait ever since I could drink it because of my memory.
Oh, thank you.
So much.
Oh, thank you. Very kind. Sure. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
How far across the country do you
Right now, we're in 8 states, Pete, is that correct? So Florida, Georgia, Virginia, West Virginia, Tennessee, Ohio, Indiana, all of Kentucky where you can't sell. And some counties where they don't sell it, it ends up there.
What's next?
Great question. We're in the middle of trying to start a small craft distillery in Sadieville, Kentucky, which if you see our Georgetown facility, it's about 50,000 square feet. You would say, why in the world are you going to build a tiny place in Sadieville? It's just a little bit closer to my house. So you see my business plan. But you know, we're always looking at other retail outlets. Pete and his partner, Brown, our sales director, David Kimber, are tasked with growing the brand out not only in the current state, so further state distribution. But we really drill down and be deep where we are. You know, we can start sending beer all across the world. They may order at one time, but we will develop, you know, deep relationships with good clientele, customer distributors where we use them here. So yeah, we're not going anywhere. Yes, sir, in the back. Well, my quick answer to that one is the question is how do you come up with a unique name for beers? And it's amazing what a few pints creativity that can be unlocked. Won't hurt you. Now, it is a great question. People, we have some beers that are just named for what the beer style is. So it's an IPA or it's a brown ale or it's a dark IPA, you know, the name is just descriptive of what the beer is. But for us, we've found great success with giving a fanciful name to a beer because it almost gives it life and it takes on a persona of its own. And so a lot of times, like the beer Amy's Moses is a fun one for us. It's a brown ale porter hybrid. It's too much hops for either one of those styles traditionally. But that beer is named after the Jerry Reed song, Amos Moses. And it's one of my favorite fun little songs that he wrote back in the 70s. But if we were to try to personify what that person would be in that song story is and put it into liquid, that's what it tastes like. That's called Amos Moses. So yeah. That he pour a little of his marketing genius into it, it'll be genuine to the end and usually sticks to it.
Yeah, here.
Hey guys, listen, you know, what we have to give them the options as well, they contribute to the things that we do. Special events, they didn't contribute in here to them. And it really helps us be more successful and we do so many things for the community. And you're helping the community in a lot of ways, so thank you for being here, we appreciate it, come on, big round.
I hope you hang that in your next book. That way, you give a new meaning to us about service above self. Well, ladies and gentlemen, he indicated that beer was invented in Mesopotamia. By the way, that is modern day Iraq. And it's sometime between the years of 7,000, 10,000 BC. Now that you have that factoid, meeting is adjourned, drink up. Thank you.
President. Really,